All right, well, let's officially get started. It is noon Eastern time, so I want to welcome you to today's webinar. It's titled How to Generate 3% per Month with One Option Trade Per Week. And I'm really excited that you're here because this webinar is going to teach you my bread and butter trade that helps generate income. And I place this multiple times a week personally, and I do this in front of all of my clients. So today, I'm going to show you how you can turn just 15 minutes a day into consistent monthly paychecks. And no matter what the market does, and I want you to stay with me because what you'll learn today could completely transform your financial future, just like it has for me and hundreds of my students. Now, I do want to ask you a quick question before we start here, and I want to get a feel for kind of where you are. Now, the session is live. You know, today is July 23rd. It's noon in Eastern time. So I do want you to interact with me in the chat. So in the chat box, I want you to give me a number, 1, 2, 3, or 4. And the question is, how would you describe your current income system in the stock market? So type a 1 if it's non-existent. In other words, you don't have a way to generate consistent income. Type a number 2 if it's just trickling in, but it's nowhere near good enough. Type a number 3 if it's there, but it's inconsistent and you definitely need more. And then type a 4 if it's a steady flow. You got possible multiple income streams that you could turn on or off when you need, and that provides you plenty of extra money. So 1, 2, 3, or 4, kind of like 1 is the lowest, 4 is the best, if you will. So I kind of want to get an idea of where we are for income right here. All right, let's take a look here. And I've got to move my screen a little bit. There we go. I see Ryan, you're 2, James 2, Kalnoon 1. And hopefully I read these numbers right because they're flying by. Bob 4, Rodney 2, James 3, Dr. Harris 3, John 3, John S 3, Kenneth 3, Julian 3, Edward 3, Gerald 2. I see a 0 there. Shailesh 2. Okay, so kind of looking at everything. And listen, if you're a 1, 2, or 3 that I read, no problem. You're in the right spot today. I can only choose a few of you because they were flying by. Even if you're a 4, I bet you're going to learn how to increase your existing income flow and how to do it with less time spent. And let me fix my screen real quick because I was just told that my screen is paused. All right, there we go. Thank you for that. And that should help with that. All right, now in this webinar, you're going to see how you can begin making a paycheck averaging 3% per month or more. Now, keep in mind, you can do this regardless of market direction. It can be done with little to no prior experience with options. You can do it. It's safer than simply buying or selling stocks, and it's something that you can implement quickly. Now, over the past 9 years, this system has averaged 3% per month, but more importantly, it's transformed the lives of retirees, parents, and professionals, anybody looking to secure their financial future without risking it all. So do me a favor, type a yes in the chat if you'd like to learn how you can trade for 15 minutes a day and make consistent income, even if you're wrong about market direction. All right, yes, 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 exactly. Now, if I were in your shoes, I'd be skeptical and I'd want proof. So do me a favor, while you're in the chat box, type a P in the chat if you'd want proof. All right, yeah, so would I. I see those annoying overhyped advertisements of guys standing next to a fancy car flying in their private jet. I'm not like that. I like to let the results stand for themselves and let you decide. I've taught this technique to clients for really 10 years now, and many of them were kind enough to share their story with you. Now, oops, went to the wrong one there. My screen got kind of out of whack. Pardon me there. So, all of these testimonials, I can't possibly read them all, but in today's webinar, we're going to highlight several of these for you, and you're going to see exactly what they did to get the results that they got. We're going to talk about Mike, right? He made $12,000 and felt he had the keys to a cash register. Bruce, who went from 100 to 452,000 in 3.5 years and no longer has sleepless nights. John, who grew his IRA by 112% by spending no more than 15 minutes per day. Now, here's a look at our performance so far this year. Now, keep in mind, the S&P was only up 5.5% during the first 6 months of the year. Our paycheck system so far has gained over 16%. Now, we're just shy of our 3% per month average, but we're happy to triple the market's performance. Now, one of my recent students sent me this email. He said, "Hey, Ron, just want to send a quick email to thank you and your team for the SPX Paycheck course back in September. I've been using the method, tracking my performance, and thought you'd like to see the results. I entered my first 35 Delta trade on September 21st with only $5,000 in my margin account. Now, less than 3 months later, I'm already up 24.9%. Thanks again. I'll be teaching this method to my retired in-laws to help them grow their income in retirement." I love hearing that. And there's also a lesson for you. You don't need to dedicate $100,000 to this. You can start small while you learn and practice because it does build up quickly. For example, if you started with $5,000 and you averaged 3% per month, compounded over 15 years, that puts you over $1 million. Now, if you started with $25,000, you'd be near $1 million after 10 years. You're looking at some serious money. Now, clearly, if you have more than $5,000 or $25,000, you'd get there much, much faster. Now, my name is Ron Wheeler, and I'm the Option Income Coach here at VectorVest. I've been trading now for, it's almost 30 years. Now, when I first started, for the first couple of years, I had mostly losses. I actually blew out a couple of my trading accounts. It's because I was trading in a way that required me to be right to make money. If I bought something and I happened to trade commodities at the time, it had to go up. If I sold something, it had to go down, right? Ultimately, if I wasn't right, I'd lose money. But a huge aha moment came to me when one of our clients, who was actually a hedge fund manager, came to our office to visit. He actually opened my eyes to the options side of the world. And for the first 7-8 years of my trading career, I was not really an options guy. I didn't like options at all. He actually opened me up to being an option trader by showing me the secrets to how the big guys trade and they make their money. Long story short, he showed me the inside secret to using options so that even if I was wrong with my analysis, I could still make money. He showed me how to use options in a way that controlled my risk. Basically, he showed me how to stack probability and control my risk right off the bat. Think of the pressure that takes off you. Your risk is controlled. It doesn't matter if you're right, you can still make money. Here's how we laid out today's webinar. The first part of today's webinar, we're going to show you the strategic shift that's necessary to generate consistent income. After that, I'll show you the 3 big mistakes you need to avoid. In fact, by knowing what the mistakes are and that there's thousands of other investors who are inevitably making those, you'll be in a prime position to profit. We're going to talk about things like strike prices and expiration dates and how to pick them correctly. Then in the third section, I'll show you how to set up your income trades with very low risk. Do me a favor, type yes in the chat if you've been told that selling options was risky. Yeah, of course. I'm going to show you how to do it the right way so that there's even lower risk than buying and selling stocks. Then I'm going to lay out the 6-step paycheck system we follow here at VectorVest to generate income. Now, this is different than what others will teach you out there, so I'm going to walk you through it today. Throughout the session, I'm going to mix in some case studies of our clients who are doing this, and one of them might be just like you. And I do feel there's a ton of great information in today's webinar, so it would benefit you to stay to the end. So if you do stay with me to the end, I put together a little checklist that's going to help you plan out your trade. It's a PDF. We'll put it right in the handout section. Go to webinar. I'll drop it right in there. You can click on it, print it out today. Just do me a favor, remind me when we get to the Q&A section at the end, because a lot of times after about an hour, I forget. Also, as you kind of saw already, I do love to interact during the webinar because I feel we get so much more out of it when we interact together. So far, you've been great with using the chat box, and there's going to be several times throughout the webinar where I'm going to ask you questions. So let's interact back and forth. Now, I've got several members of the team with me here today, so like I said, this is a live webinar. If you have a question, type it in the chat. My team will help you out. Now, there's only so much we can cover in an hour, so throughout the session, I'll be mentioning some things you can do after the webinar is over if you want to continue your education and start implementing this quicker. Now, we'll talk more about that at the end, but I guarantee this is going to be 1 hour of packed information. So if you're good with that and you're ready, just give me a yes in the chat box for me. All right, just wanted to make sure you're still paying attention, right? All right, now why is this such an important topic? Well, without an income system, financial stress is your constant companion, and this creates a number of problems for us. You may feel stuck working longer than planned, or you're stressed worrying about running out of money. You might be depleting your savings faster than you can fill it. You might even fear if you're retired, you'll have to go back to work. Now, with an options paycheck system to help you generate income, you can really break free of this. It's designed to help you generate income safely and consistently and in less than 15 minutes a day. And I believe this is probably the most important point of the webinar. So pay close attention, write down what I'm about to say. In order to be financially free, our main need is income. To be financially free, you need to learn to generate enough income from your investments to cover your expenses and lifestyle needs. So I'll say it again. In order to become financially free, you need to learn to generate enough income from your investments to cover your expenses and lifestyle needs. Whether you're still working or you're retired, the ability to generate income from your investments is one of the most empowering skill sets you can have. Because when you have the ability to generate income from your investments, your life's going to change. If you're still working, you can increase your earning capacity. It's like having a second job. If you're retired, you can keep a consistent source of income as if you quit your job, but they kept paying you. It's like a tap you can turn on whenever you want. This is going to allow you to do the things you want to do now and when you retire. When you've got a system that helps you generate income, it can help you retire younger. So as I said, I think this is one of the most important points of the presentation, so I'll say it again. When the income from your investments exceeds your living expenses, you become financially free. But the first thing you need to know to generate that income with options, it's a bit of a strategic mindset shift. You're either going to continue being the gambler where you lose more than you win, or you're going to become an option seller and win more than you lose. Being an option seller is the way you can make consistent income, and it allows you to win even when you're wrong. Now, the reason you want to be the casino or the house and not the gambler is that, well, number one, the house always wins. Number two, the house always wins because they control and stack probability in their favor. The options paycheck system is built around you stacking the odds massively in your favor. So make a note of this. In order to control your returns and results, you need to know how to stack probability in your favor. And that first step is the shift from being the buyer of options to being the seller. So let me explain. Bruce is a great example of that shift from gambling on stocks to being the casino and controlling and stacking probability in his favor. He said prior to working with us, he had mainly taken stock tips from his broker. Now, he focused on our SPX income system, which is our most basic trading system. He said he's not the most technical person in the world, but in the time he's been working with us, he's grown his trading account from 100 to 497,000 in 3.5 years. He said he's achieving a 74% win percentage simply by following the rules of the options paycheck system, and the whole system takes him around 15 minutes per day. So let me show you how this works. This is a great example of a typical trade you've been taught to make. You find a stock you like, you think it's going to go up, so you can either buy shares of it or you buy a call option. Now, why do you buy the call option? Well, mainly when you started learning options, it's what you were taught to do, right? It's the equivalent of you owning the stock. But what ends up happening a lot of times? Either the call doesn't go up, the stock doesn't go up, maybe it just doesn't go up enough, and the call you bought ends up expiring worthless. Has it ever happened to you? Yes? Well, what's the problem that's causing you to lose? Most people feel the problem is they picked maybe the wrong stock. Maybe it was the wrong option strike. Maybe it was the wrong option expiration. But let's talk about the real problem. If you've been losing money or had more losers than winners with other systems, it's not your fault. That's because most of the systems on the planet teach you to be on the wrong side of the trade. You're taught to buy an option. But as a buyer, the probabilities are not on your side. And for most people, they end up buying and losing and buying and losing and buying and losing. Our options paycheck system teaches you a new way of thinking. You need to be a seller and not a buyer. This is how you get ahead of everyone else. This is how we put probability on our side. And this is how we can win even if we're wrong. So let's take a closer look at selling options. As a buyer, a typical trade gives you a 50-50 chance to be a winner. Because when you buy something, right, the only way you make money is if the stock moves in your direction. So instead of that buyer's mentality, we're going to have a seller's mentality. So instead of hoping a stock goes up as a seller, you're going to strategically set up your trade using probability. Probability will tell you where the stock is not likely to go. So instead of needing the stock to go in your direction, you can pick a price which basically says, as long as the stock doesn't go down to here, I can make money. Think about that. You pick a price. In this case, I'm showing you where that arrow is, about $195 a share. The stock is at $203.87. You pick that price underneath the stock. If the stock goes up, you win. But if the stock goes sideways, you also win. The stock can even come down a little and you still make money. Right from the very start, probability is put in your favor. And you can even increase that probability even more by choosing a lower price. That gives you a bigger area to be right. Take a look now. We've moved it down to $190. You've got a $204 stock. All it's got to do is stay above $190 and you win. We actually do a lot of our trades that start off with about a 70% statistical chance of success. And you can only do this as an option seller. As a seller, you're putting the probability of success in your favor. And this is the definition of an income trade. An income trade is one where you can make money even if you are wrong on direction. Now, Bruce, he continues to trade with us every week. In fact, he posted in our private group and said, another day of trading on the beach. Got my eyes on AMC and a cold beer. Life's good. Thank you, VectorVest and Ron, for giving us the tools to do what we do from anywhere. That, to me, is the greatest picture of being financially free. Now, Mike, he was someone who dabbled with options but said he lost on each trade. Have you ever been there? Can you imagine how frustrating that must be to lose on each of your trades? Well, eventually he gave it up. He tried to learn more about the options, but he said he never felt comfortable. He knew what he was doing. He had all this knowledge, but no formal way to use it. He said there was no set criteria. So Mike and I worked together. I taught him the options paycheck system of becoming an option seller, and he said he became like an income machine. After he learned the system, he immediately went out and said he had 17 out of 19 winning trades with a profit of over $12,000 in 4 months. The key lesson is going from buyer or gambler to seller or the house. That turned his situation around. And he was so proud of his success, he even sent me a spreadsheet of his trades. Take a look. First off, take a look at the work days to close, right? 7, 5, 4, 2, 7, 7, 10. And then look at the profit column versus the loss column. He's pulling in about $1,000 every 7 to 10 days. And that's very important for you to know. We're not day trading here. I'm not going to have you sitting in front of your screen for 8 hours a day. That's not what we want to do here. We want you trading 15 minutes a day. Very, very quick, simple trades to put out there to make good income. In fact, one of our bread and butter trades, and if you're like Mike and a lot of our students, you can start by just trading the SPX. That's the index that tracks the S&P. That involves only one trade per week. It's averaged 2.3% per month over the last 9 years. You're not just learning to trade options. You're creating a future where your income grows without adding hours to your day. Imagine turning your financial stress into confidence, knowing your money's working harder than ever, even when you're not. And the key thing here is, I'm going to say that a lot, by the way, the key thing. There's a lot of keys. One of the keys here is this. We're not looking for one big home run trade to become a millionaire overnight. We're growing our account steadily each year. And that's another one of our key takeaways. Home runs, they look good, but singles are what win the games. These singles are what will enable you to never run out of money and be able to do the things that you want to do. Now, one of my jobs as your coach today is to help you make a few great decisions. Your first shift to generate income with options is that move from being a hopeful gambler to where you implement a system of high probability selling. Now, listen, I'm not saying you need to be a full-time options trader. You're still going to do some stock trading. I do well. but mix in some trades where you sell options for income. So do me a favor, in the chat, type in gambler if you want to continue taking low probability trades, or type the word seller if you think it makes more sense to trade with high probability. And listen, every once in a while, you might do a trade where you gamble with a little bit of your money. I did it last night, by the way. I did some earnings trades. I did one on Texas Instruments where I thought it was going to go down, and I did one on, what was the other one? Thermo Fisher, where I thought it was going to go up for earnings. That's a gambling trade. You do it with a little bit of money, right? It's fun. But I'm talking about, what do you think is a better idea to do for an income system? So in the chat, do me a favor, type gambler or seller. Let me know your choice. All right, Raphael, Seller, Curtis, John, Gerald, Ben, Abe, Tom, John, Rick, Joseph, John, Rodney, Ed. All right, cool. And again, I'm just kind of going in there so far. All right, so again, you see, my promise to you is that you can generate a consistent monthly paycheck no matter what the market does. Being an option seller is how you're going to do that. Now, let's move on to section 2. You've seen simply by flipping from being the buyer to being the seller, you can stack the odds significantly in your favor. You need to know how to sell options correctly. There's a right way and there's a wrong way to do it. So let's talk about the right way. To stack the odds even further in your favor, you need to understand and capitalize on the 3 most common buyer's mistakes. Basically, you're going to avoid making them and do the opposite. So let me explain. Mistake number 1 is that buyers choose very unrealistic strikes. They choose strikes that are so far away, the stock has no chance of hitting it. Let me explain. Here's a stock. Let's say you're bullish on the stock. It's $216 a share. A lot of times what option buyers do is they'll buy a call way above the stock price. Now, the only way they're going to make real money is if the stock rallies like $15 a share. If it doesn't, they're not going to make money. Why would you put yourself in a position where the stock has to move $15 a share for you to see any real profits? Well, they do this because those options are very cheap. They treat it like a lottery ticket, right? Most of the time, they end up losing. Now, these people right there, they are the gamblers. There's always going to be those gamblers out there who are buying these options. You may as well be the one who sells it to them. You're selling an option that has a low probability of getting hit. So what I'm saying here is, as long as 230 doesn't get hit, you win as a seller, okay? You have a high probability of winning. They have a low probability of winning. Now, the same goes for puts. There are people who buy puts down here, maybe as lottery tickets or maybe cheap insurance for their underlying stock position. It doesn't really matter why they're buying the puts. The fact is, there will always be buyers out there who buy these options. And since there's always buyers out there who are going to buy these options, you may as well be the one who sells it to them. Because selling these options gives you a 60 to 90% probability of success right from the very start of the trade. Now, the second mistake that buyers make is they choose expiration dates that are too close to the current date. It's like when you go to the grocery store and you see a piece of steak on the discount rack. It's cheap. That's because its expiration date is probably that day, right? If you don't go home and cook it, it's going to spoil. Same is true for options. Now, here you see what happens to the price of an option in relation to the number of days until expiration. I want you to notice from the left-hand side of the graph, right, to about all the way here, that's 180 days. Your option has expired with no value. But I want you to take a look really from here to about here, right where that red line crosses the blue. Something really magical happens here. It took about 135 days, and the option lost about half of its value. But look what happens in the final 45 days. That decay, that time decay becomes exponential, okay? And what happens is a lot of option buyers are buying their options in the final 45 days of an option's life. Well, what's the problem with that? The problem is they're putting themselves in a position where even if the stock goes in their direction, the decay is eating the value of the option. So instead of buying options in that window, we are going to be selling options there. Now, to be more specific, Our options paycheck system uses expiration dates that are 21 to 45 days away. That's our sweet spot, 21 to 45 days away. Now, to kind of look at it as a graph, this is a graph of Home Depot. Most buyers are going to buy an option somewhere like out here, right? That's about 30, 35 days away. But that's too close. Notice how the value of the option just drops off because it's getting closer to expiration. This is bad for the options buyer, but you're going to be the option seller. You're going to let that time decay work in your favor. Remember, there's always going to be people buying options that have expiration dates too close. You may as well be the one who sells it to them. Let them be the gambler. You be the casino, because you're going to win in the end. Now, pay special attention to this one. This one's not one that a lot of people understand and know. The third mistake buyers make is they simply pay too much. They buy what's called an overpriced option. So let me show you what I'm talking about here. Here's two stocks. I want you to look at the top. Notice that both stocks are pretty much the same price, right? They're within like what, 12 cents of each other. 76.24, 76.36. But even though those stocks have the same price, their premiums are vastly different. Over on the left, to buy that call will cost you $910. Over on the right, to buy that call, it's $1.80 or $180. Same strike price, same expiration, same stock price. Everything's the same. Why are they so different in price? It's because the option on the left had extremely high implied volatility, and this leads to the option being very, very overpriced. Buyers who buy those options are paying too much. Well, what's the big deal, right? I always like to relate this to like strawberries, right? My kids love strawberries. I really like strawberries when they're $1.65 a pint like I paid last night. Now, when they're $5 a pint, I really don't like strawberries. My kids don't care. They don't care if they're $1.65 or $5. They just want strawberries. Well, if your end result is you're going to eat the strawberries, then who cares what the price is other than being annoyed? Options are different. It's not about you buying a $9 option, oh, well, it's just expensive, I'm going to make money anyway, versus $1.80. I want you to watch what happens here. We're going to simulate both of the stocks go up $8 a share. And I want you to see what happens to the value of the options. Over on the left, if you would have bought that call, you would have lost money. The stock went up $8 a share. You lost money. Over on the right, if you'd have bought that option, you actually made like 300% return on your money. Think about that. You got direction right, but you still lost over on the left. Why? Because of that high volatility. The person who bought that option on the left didn't pay attention, and they paid way too much, and it sabotaged the position. Well, remember how we said we're going to turn these mistakes into ways that we can make money? That's a mistake. We're actually, as option sellers, going to seek out that really expensive, high-priced premium, and we're going to sell it. Why? Because as an option seller, the more premium that we collect, the better statistics we can use to put the odds in our favor. We're going to be right more often, and we minimize our dollar risk. We're stacking probability on our side even more. That's what we're going to do. Now, Bob is one of the most interesting stories I've ever seen. He said prior to working with us, he was making a bunch of the mistakes we talked about here, and it cost him dearly. In fact, he said he ended up either broke or bankrupt 3 times. In his own words, came close to living under a bridge. The options paycheck system helped Bob turn his situation around. He said it's about 4 months. He learned to turn these mistake liabilities into strategies to control and stack probability in his favor. He said in 4 months, he grew his account by 71% and achieved a 79% winning trade percentage. Remember, if you want to control your returns and results, you have to know how to control and stack probability in your favor. Now, let me ask you a question. In the chat box, I want you to answer. Have you ever made any of those buyer's mistakes? Type yes or no in the chat. All right, I already see lots of yeses. I see I never traded options before. Listen, if you've never traded options before, you're in the right place. We're going to teach you how to do it properly from the ground floor. Now listen, for all of you answering yes, all of us who have traded options before, we've all done this. It's not our fault. We were just taught a broken system. Now, one of my jobs, again, as your coach today, it's going to help you make a few great decisions. If you're trading options to generate income, you can no longer make these common buyer's mistakes. Even if you leave the webinar and don't become an option seller, promise yourself you'll stop making these common buyer mistakes. So whether you continue on with any of the courses or coaching we offer here at VectorVest, make that promise to yourself. So do me a favor, in the chat, I want you to type avoid if you will avoid these buyer's mistakes going forward. All right, I love it. Avoid. Raphael, John, Ben, Gerald, Tom, Edward, Curtis, Abe, Rick. And again, I'm only reading some of them because they fly by so darn fast. All right, exactly. There's thousands of people out there who will continue to make these buyer's mistakes. You can't prevent them from doing it. Since they're going to be doing it, though, you might as well know how to capitalize on it. So if you want to generate that consistent income of options, you simply need to take the other side of these trades. Now, at this point, hopefully you know you want to be an option seller. And you said that you do. So we're going to learn now how to avoid and capitalize on those mistakes, okay? Now, we need to look at how to trade with very little risk, because when a lot of people hear the word options, especially the term selling options, they immediately think risky. That's because some people just go out there and they start selling options because they heard it was a high probability trade, but they don't protect themselves. They don't understand what they're doing. The options paycheck system uses a low-risk strategy for selling options, and this is why it's a core strategy that we teach our retirees. Now, why is reducing risk so important? Because most people who don't use the options paycheck system, they're not preserving their capital. They can have one bad trade wipe out the gains from a bunch of winners. And when you suffer large losses, it's very hard. It takes a long time to recover. But when you do this right, with the right system in place, you're going to have built-in protection plans. You're going to take care of that risk management before you even open the trade. And when you can confidently select stocks and you set up your trades in a way that reduce risk, this is allowing you to preserve and grow your capital. Like I said earlier, home runs look good, but singles are what win the games. One of my most common questions I get asked, by the way, is can I trade options from an IRA? Well, a client of ours, John, grew his IRA over 112% in 1 year using our options paycheck system. John said he had tried and struggled with trading for some time before working with us. He learned to follow the system and turned his inconsistent results into predictable monthly income. He said in 12 months, he enjoyed 85% winning trades and more than doubled the size of his IRA while spending no more than 15 minutes per day on his trading. Now, the options paycheck system makes sure you reduce your risk before you even open the trade. First, we're going to choose stocks that are low risk. We have a very specific criteria, but in general, if we're bullish, we start by focusing on good stocks that are already rising in price. Very similar to what you would see here. Then, instead of selling an option naked, we're going to sell with protection. So let me show you how to do this. Traditional option selling systems leave you with all of this risk down here. But the options paycheck system is going to shrink your risk to this. So let me show you how this works. This is a graph of a typical stock we'd be bullish on. It's a beautiful graph, so it's understandable to be bullish on a stock that looks like this. Now, traditionally, people would buy the stock right here, right? The stock price. They may even buy a call and use that as their strike price. Remember, though, you're not the buyer anymore, you're the seller. So here's what you're going to do. If you think that a stock is going to go up, you are going to go underneath the price of the stock and you are going to sell a put. So if you're bullish, we sell puts. When we sell the put, we're going to get paid. We're going to receive premium. Okay? In this example, if you sell a 135 put on this $137.50 stock, you're going to get paid $200 per contract. Okay? If you did it with 10 contracts, you're going to get paid $2,000. Now, that's great, right? But you have no downside protection. If the stock drops, you're going to lose a lot of money. Remember, this is an option trade, right? So if you sell the option, you have an obligation on. You have to exit that trade at some point. It's going to go up and down in value. What we don't want is the stock to drop too much, right? We have no downside protection if that happens. So what we want to do is use a built-in protection program. When you buy a put a little bit lower, this is going to be your insurance. Buying your put has reduced the risk to this. Okay? Now that protection plan, it does cost you something. To buy that protection plan, you're going to use some of the money that you received when you sold the put. So for this example, the insurance cost me $100, and that's okay. We received $200 from selling the put. That's going to leave you with a net $100 credit per contract. That means you're going to get paid $100 to place this trade. No money out of your pocket. If you did it with 10 contracts, you'd get paid $1,000. Okay? Again, you're getting paid here. Now, what this has done is placed you in a position where if the stock goes up, you make money. Those options you just traded are going to lose value, and you're going to go and exit that for profit. If the market goes sideways, it's the same scenario, right? You're still going to make money. And the stock can even come down a little bit, and you're still going to make money. And if it goes down too far, we're going to exit the trade and take a small proportional loss. Okay? So, let's do this. I want to set up a trade using an example of a trade I actually did with my clients recently to help you get a better understanding of how to set them up. Now, I'm going to be showing you some numbers now, so you'll definitely need to be paying attention. Let me set some ground rules. First, when the market is bullish, we're going to place bullish income trades. That's pretty much where the market is right now. We've been in a bullish phase since like what, May? Okay? Now, earlier I talked about expiration where we're selling options between 21 and 45 days. I'm going to give you another tip. We're going to pick option strikes that give us at least a 60% probability of winning. All right, here's a trade I took a couple months ago, DRI, Darden Restaurants. It's in a very nice uptrend, moving from lower left to upper right. Everything looks good. On the day I took the trade, okay, stock's at 203. Now, the next thing that we do, we're going to go out to our options chain in our broker. We're going to look for options that expire in 21 to 45 days. And then we're going to look at the strike prices. Now, here's the cool part. Strike prices and probability kind of go hand in hand. Pretty much every options broker will show you this information, right? So now, in the next probably 3 or 4 weeks, what price do you think DRI won't drop below? Because remember, we're bullish. We're going to sell a put underneath the stock. Now, when I go out to the option chain, here's what I see. I can sell that is a $200 put. That gives me a 55% probability of winning. That means there's a 55% chance over the next 4 or 5 weeks when that option expires that DRI is going to stay above $200. I can go down to B, which is a 195 option. Okay? That is going to give me a 64% probability of staying above that. Or I can go all the way down to C at 185, which gives me an 80% probability of staying above. Now let me ask you a question. Of those 3 choices, which one do you think looks best? Answer that in the chat window. Which one of those do you think looks best? All right, I see some B's. I see some C's. I see lots of B's and C's. Well, I kind of gave you part of the answer, right? Because I told you better than 60%. Now, here's the real answer to this one. It's actually B. Okay? In this particular instance, it's B. 64%. Why not 80%? Some of you answered 80%. And listen, if you don't know anything about selling options, I think that's a good answer, by the way. If somebody came to me and said, hey, Ron, I can show you a system that's 80% right or 50%. Which one would you want? Well, without asking any questions, not having any prior knowledge, I would say 80%. Well, here's the problem. What happens, okay, and I'm just going to throw out a hypothetical. Let me get a little pen here. I can write some notes here. What happens if you do this trade down here, and for every winning trade, let's say you make $1,000. Okay? You make 10 trades. 80% of the time, you're going to make $1,000. So at 10 trades, you're going to make $8,000. Okay? Now, you're going to have 2 losing trades. What happens if those 2 losers lose you $5,000 apiece? You're going to lose $10,000 on those 2 trades. So, yes, you're 80% right, but you're going to lose money because the risk is too high. B is that perfect scenario, okay? We're going to get that greater, typically, than 60% chance of winning, in this case 64, and your risk reward is going to be about $1,000, and you're going to risk about $1,000. That is how you make money being an option seller. You want to delicately balance that risk and that reward and probability. It's a 3-pronged balance there. Now, in this particular trade, I sold a 195 put, so the stock basically had to go, and stay above really this. As long as it stayed in this area right here, I'm going to make money. And I bought a 190 put as protection. Now, this is done in one trade, okay? This is called a bull put spread. Bull because it's something you do when you're bullish, put because we're using puts, and spread because we're doing 2 options with a $5 difference in price, okay? Now remember, these trades have a built-in protection plan. Your real risk on this trade was only $98 per options contract, right? So let's see how it worked out. In about 2 weeks, now look, the stock went up, it went back down, it went back up, but all the while, we stayed way above that price down there. It took me about 2 weeks, and I made about $700. Okay? Now, in this trade, the real risk reward was about $700 in profit and about $700 in risk. Okay? And I had a 64% chance of making money. And if it went outside those parameters, I simply wouldn't have taken the trade. Okay? That's the kind of trade that we look for. Now, another client I work with is Jim. He told me prior to working with me, he told me his results were inconsistent and he felt very unsatisfied. He kept thinking that there had to be something else out there that was better. Have you ever felt that way? There had to be something better out there? Jim said he wanted a way to supplement what he was doing and would provide more of a regular income with a higher probability of success, just like we talk about. He said after learning the system being an option seller, he had 21 winners in a row and returned 76% in about 8 months. And his average trade only lasted 8 days. Can you imagine how that must feel to be going from inconsistent to where all your trades are generating income? Now, that final third shift, this is going to make sure when you sell your options, you're going to set up your trades with low risk. The options paycheck system makes sure you have a guaranteed maximum risk. And it all goes back to whether you'd rather be the gambler or the casino. Because keep in mind, right, the house always wins in the end. Being an option seller is the way that you can make consistent income every month. It allows you to do it safely, even safer than buying and selling stocks with that higher probability of success. Now, today's been all about building a system to generate consistent income with options regardless of what the market's doing. So let me put this together. I want to look at the 6-step paycheck system we use. It's going to help you generate consistent income. And you can, again, do this in as little as 15 minutes a day. My students who have implemented this system have told me this is the most important thing they learned. Why is it important? Well, one of the biggest things people ask me is how much time is it going to take? And that's a great question. Well, here's the challenge. There's thousands of stocks out there. And you got to know how to pick the right stock, the right strategy, when do you get in, what expiration, what price, what usually goes against you, when do you get out, all that stuff, right? And sometimes it feels like you're trying to find a needle in the haystack. There's so much information out there, you don't know where to look. You spend hours researching trades. You're going from guru to guru looking for that advice. Without a system, you're trading blindly. You're like a mouse running through a maze, bumping into wall after wall. You don't know where to go. It's stressful. It's disheartening. But with the right system, you can identify those good trades, get reliable income in as little as 15 minutes a day. Now listen, if you think you're too busy, remember, time is your most valuable resource. The system requires just 15 minutes a day, and it's designed to give you back control of your time and money. Imagine what you could do with that freedom. But to get it, you need a system. And not just any system. A straight line system. A simple way to know when to place your trades, how to find them, how to set them up, and then how to manage them. So let me walk you through the steps of the options paycheck system. Step number 1 is market direction. A lot of traders ignore this and they just go out and start placing trades. You're going to be placing trades that are either bullish or bearish, and you got to have a way to know the market's direction. Now, today we focused on bullish trades, but you can do these trades when the market's going up or down. It doesn't matter. By doing this, you're narrowing your focus. So instead of looking at everything, you're looking at one of 2 possible scenarios. Our options paycheck system has a timing signal built in that we use to tell us the market's direction. Now, after you know the direction of the market, you're going to want to select stocks that are highly likely to move in the same direction of the market. Just trading the stocks you know or listening to the gurus on TV, this is not the best choice for this. What you want to do is find good stocks already in uptrends when the market's rising, bad stocks that are in downtrends when the market is falling. Our options paycheck system saves a lot of time in 2 ways. We look at 2 main things, fundamentals and price trend. We have pre-built searches in VectorVest, which we use instead of digging through all the data the institutions throw at you. Now, once you have your list of stocks, you're going to want to find a way to select the best ones for options trading. Earlier, we looked at how big of an effect volatility had on options price. But the options paycheck system focuses on selling options with that volatility in the upper end of the range. We don't stop there, though. To take even more risk out of the trade, we're going to filter those out with upcoming earnings dates and make sure we're using the expirations in the right sweet spot. Now, you can use tools from your broker to help. We happen to have a proprietary search tool which is going to find these options in just a matter of seconds. Now it's time to set up your trade in step 4. We pick the one that has a high probability of success. How? By picking the strikes that give you the biggest possible credit, but are far enough away from the stock's price that you have a little chance of losing. We also want to make sure we have the appropriate and best possible risk to reward ratio. Now, before you place the trade, you need to know what to do if the trade goes for you or against you. So in step number 5, we don't want you to be sitting in a trade feeling frozen like a deer in the headlights because you don't know what to do. Our options paycheck system has rules to take profits at predefined levels. These can be set up in advance with your broker. And if a trade goes against us, we have a simple adjustment strategy that'll bring in more income to help minimize any losses. We also know exactly when to exit a trade, and I set that order up in advance with my broker, so it happens automatically and it's very unemotional. Now, lastly, it's time for trade execution. You want to be able to confidently place your trades with your broker. So in step 6, our paycheck system does this by planning the trade in advance and using limit orders. Now, earlier we talked about Mike and Jim. Each of them is getting the results in about 15 minutes a day. Well, so is Hugh. In fact, he told me one of his biggest struggles was finding a system that was efficient and worked. He said he didn't have that proper balance between trading and free time. He didn't have a proper work-life balance. Are you like that? Do you spend too much time on things you don't want to do and not enough time doing the things you want to? Now that Hugh has learned the options paycheck system of selling options, he said he has more confidence, more free time, and is able to have more fun. In his first 43 trades, he had 38 winners and returned over $26,000 in 4 months. Now, here's what I want to do. I want you to take a pen. I want you to put a little star next to the part of the system where you're really good. So, for example, if you have a quick way to find a list of stocks likely to go in the market direction, put a star there. That's a strength for you. But if there's an area where something isn't working or maybe you need a little help, put a frowny face there. Put an X or something. For example, if you don't know how to manage or repair a trade, put a frown or an X there. Don't overthink it. I'm going to give you about 15 seconds to give yourself a star or a frown. You know, I'm willing to bet that maybe 100 investors will ever know how to do this. All right, let me ask you, what areas do you need to work on? In the chat, share with me, what areas do you need to work on? All right, I see number 2, all of them. Michael, trade management. Ben, 5. All of them, Curtis, Setup, Abe, Rodney, Trade Management. Oh, there's two Rodneys, Rodney T and Rodney S. Most of them. Gerald, 3. Tom, 3, 4, and 5. Trade Management, John. All right, I just wanted to read a couple of them off. Listen, we need to get it to where you have stars all the way down. Once you do, you'll be able to generate income every month and do so in less than 15 minutes a day. So listen, I can't know your exact reason for coming to today's webinar, but I'm going to make a few guesses here. Okay? Maybe you haven't really known what to do, and you feel you've been trading blindly, bumping from one wall into the next, leaving you with inconsistent results. You make some money, but then you give it all back on your next trade. Just like Jim did before he learned the options paycheck system. Maybe you've been suffering through loss after loss, and those small losses are killing your portfolio. Maybe the money coming in isn't exceeding the money going out. Maybe you're just not where you want to be. Now today, I showed you the secret to fixing that. And it's a secret I bet that only 1 in 100 investors will ever know. And now you're one of them. You saw it's possible to win even if you're wrong. How you can do it with very little risk, even less risk than simply buying and selling stocks. You saw the system to get consistent income every month. And I showed you just a few of the many, many people who use the system every day so they never have to worry about retirement again. You saw over and over the secret to generating your consistent income is that shift from being the gambler to being the casino. Remember, you're now going to be that one investor out of 100 who knows the secret. That means there are 99 other investors who will continue to do things wrong. They'll be buying options, making all the mistakes we talked about. You can't stop them from doing it. There's always going to be those investors out there who will buy options incorrectly. Let them be the gamblers. As long as there's gamblers out there, you may as well be the casino, because remember that old saying, the house always wins in the end. The options paycheck system teaches you how to stack probability of success in your favor. Just like Brian and Bruce and Bob and Jim and Hugh and John. By now you've seen how the system works. You've heard others just like you and how they've achieved their financial freedom. The question is no longer can it work? It's are you ready to make it work for you? So let me walk you through how to get started today. And it starts with a choice. Option number 1 is you can do nothing and stay exactly where you are now. And if you already have enough money to retire and you're not worried about running out of money, then maybe you don't need the options paycheck system. But if you'd like to make some extra income every month, that leaves you with 2 other options. Option 2 is you can do it alone. You can try to learn how the option trades work and then try to figure out the direction of the market, learn how to analyze the thousands of stocks, find the best ones to trade, hope you pick the right one, you manage it correctly. Listen, if you're willing to work hard, spend hours in front of your computer, and you're willing to learn by trial and error, you might be able to pull it off. But option 3 is just to let us guide you through it. I'll walk you through each piece of the options paycheck system. In just a few weeks, you're going to have a simple system to follow that doesn't take a lot of time. So of those 3 options, ask yourself what's going to be easier for you. There's 2 types of people. Person number 1 is someone who dreams about their financial goals but never take action or do anything to make it happen. Person number 2 is someone who's serious about their financial future. You're ready to take action when you see a good opportunity in front of you. The real risk here isn't trying something new. It's doing nothing and staying stuck. The market won't wait, and your expenses aren't going to stop. Every month you delay could be another month of missed opportunity to grow your wealth. So let me tell you what we put together for you. The Options Paycheck Experience is the most comprehensive program for generating consistent income using option spreads. The Options Paycheck Experience is the only implementation program of its kind that teaches the secret to generating consistent income with options. It's going to show you exactly how to find, set up, and manage and place your option spreads to generate income, and how to do it safely and consistently in any market condition so you never have that fear of running out of money. Now, we only open registration a few times a year, so if you're serious about building consistent income, this is your chance to join a proven system. Now, after going through the experience, you're going to know exactly how calls and puts work, along with all the fancy terms. That way you no longer have the fear of options. You're going to have clear signals telling you whether to place a bullish or a bearish trade, and more importantly, when not to place trades. You're going to be able to quickly identify the stocks that make the best candidates for your option income trade using a rules-based approach, and that's going to free up a lot of time in your life. You're going to set up an income trade so it gives you a 60% or better success rate. You're going to have an trade management game plan in place prior to placing your trade. That way you can handle any situation the market throws at you. You're going to be able to confidently enter and exit trades with your broker like a pro, whether it's your first trade or your 500th trade. You're going to implement a system to safely and consistently generate income. That way you can live the lifestyle you want without that fear of running out of money. Now the course is 8 modules long, and we made it so each module builds on the one prior. Now the first 2 are going to lay the foundation, and then the other 6 are going to teach you the 6-step system, step by step. By the time you're done, you're going to have that full, complete system for income. So the first 2 modules, this is what we call the option income foundation. And a lot of people try to build a successful income portfolio, but they base the portfolio on a weak foundation of knowledge. We totally understand what it's like to learn options. We've been there. This is why it pays to learn from a team who's gone through this before. The outcome you'll get from Module 1 is you're going to know exactly how calls and puts work so you can use them confidently in your trades. You're going to know which terms you need to pay attention to and which option terms you can ignore. That way you're not wasting time or getting frustrated. In Module 2, you're going to learn what a spread is and how it works, those bull put spreads and also the bear call. You're going to be filled with confidence to start building your income system around these new trades. Now that you got that solid foundation of options knowledge, we're going to lay out the step-by-step system to placing income trades to generate your options paycheck. Each step along the way, we're going to stack probability in your favor and reduce risk. And it all starts with knowing when to trade. Here, we're going to give you complete clarity on market trends. So instead of looking at all possible trades, we're going to teach you to narrow your focus. You're going to know whether to place bullish trades or bearish trades, and then also when not to trade. After you know the direction of the market, you're going to want to find stocks that are highly likely to move in the same direction of the market. This is going to stack probability even more in your favor. The outcome here is you're going to know how to quickly find the best stocks and indexes to trade that give you the highest probability. Now that you got your list of stocks, we're going to narrow it down to the best option candidates that give you the highest probability for profits. By using the rules in this module, you're going to make sure you're getting paid top dollar for your trade and making it so you can make money even if the stock goes nowhere. You're going to continue to stack probability and reduce risk in Module 6 by the way you set your trades up. Here, you're going to make sure your trade has the perfect combination of risk and reward, and you're going to know exactly where to set your strikes. Great trades don't happen by accident. They happen because of careful planning and strategically setting them up correctly right from the beginning. Now that you got your high probability trade picked out and you're ready to go, Module 7 teaches you how to put your plan in place. That way you know when to exit the trade with profits, also when to exit to minimize losses. You're never going to be frozen like a deer in headlights again. No matter what the market throws at you, you're going to know how to react, which allows you to trade completely stress-free. Now that you found the best stock, you set up your low-risk, high-probability option trade, you mapped out your management game plan, now it's time to place the trade. This module breaks down the trade execution phase into simple, repeatable steps. You're going to commit to muscle memory in no time. Not only do you get the entire course, but if you act today, you're going to receive our exclusive trade planning checklist. We put everything you need into a checklist so you never miss a step. When someone's first starting out, it's always comforting having that security blanket to make sure you did everything correctly. Plus, placing trades with your broker can be very intimidating. So in addition to video walkthroughs of several popular brokers, we put together click-by-click directions for the most popular broker, Schwab's Thinkorswim platform. Now, before we even talk about the low price of the course, I want to make this even more low risk for you. We offer a 100% money-back guarantee in the course. You can go through the entire course, and if you're not satisfied we taught you how to profit using options, just notify us within a week of finishing the course, and you get all your money back. There's completely no risk. All we ask is that you give it your best effort. Come to the classes, watch the recordings, do the assignments, because we know if you do, you'll see the results. If you don't do the work, you won't be eligible for a refund. Now, the reason I have such a tight refund policy is because I only want to work and attract those who are incredibly excited to jump in and do that work. I want to attract serious investors. In order to do that, I make the refund policy like this to where you have to do the work to attract those people who are serious about getting their results. Now, when you do the system, remember, you're going to be learning a system that's average 3% per month. That's 36% per year on average. And remember, it doesn't take a lot of time to do this every week. I received this email from a client who took the course. Ron, I'm writing to thank you for teaching the Options Paycheck course. I took your class last fall and wanted to let you know my results for the past 10 months. I keep a journal to document every trade, and so far I've profited on 239 trades out of the 350 I've taken, a 68% winning rate. I've profited over $100,000 in this time. What's more exciting is that since my knowledge and experience have grown in regards to taking really good risk-reward trades, I've profited over $50,000 in the last 6 weeks. My success rate has been 78% of my last 100 trades, and I only take trades with a 2-to-1 or better risk-reward. Thank you again for teaching this simple but effective system. Now, if I told Joe I'd give him $100,000 in exchange for $2,000, do you think he'd take that? Does that sound like a good trade to you? Well, I've got a great offer for you here that you're going to see here shortly. Now, before I tell you more about it, I want to point something out. Understand, this is not a get-rich-quick scheme. It's not something where you should expect to become a millionaire in 24 hours. This is serious and requires some effort on your part. So if you're not going to commit to it, then don't do it. It's not for you. It's for serious people who take their investing seriously, who are willing to put in time to learn the system. So if you're serious about it, ready to do the work and get the results, then the Options Paycheck course is perfect for you. Step-by-step training to go from option basics to a full, complete income-generating system. Just these 8 training modules alone are worth the price of the course. But I've also put together some great bonuses for you today. The first bonus is what we call the Mastery Package. The Mastery Package includes module-by-module mastery sessions. Each week, we're going to have 2 mastery sessions, one dedicated to each module to help you master the course material. Then on Friday, I have an additional live Q&A. That means you'll have 3 live sessions each week, giving you plenty of opportunities to ask questions and get help. The Mastery Package also includes private, dedicated email support with me and the team. Additionally, if you don't already have it, we're going to give you access to VectorVest and Options Pro software during the 2 months of the live curriculum, the software that I use, so you can test drive the best tools on the planet. This is going to help you implement the paycheck system. With the Mastery Package bonus, you're going to have the tools and support you need to master the techniques taught in the course. That way you're ready to place that first income trade in the shortest time possible. And to make sure that that's going to happen, the second bonus is what we call the Implementation Month. During this, you're going to get access to our live trading sessions. During these sessions, I showed you my trading results earlier where I'm up like 16% so far for the year. I make my trades in that session. You're going to see me place the trades live, the ones that I do every week. You're going to watch me find, select, set up, place trades, manage the existing trades. It's a huge bonus. You're going to see the paycheck system in action. You can follow along in your own account if you want to. I'm also going to hold live office hours twice a week where we're going to repeat the process. We're going to show you 3 times a week how to find, implement, and take trades. Okay? Our past students said this is their favorite part of the course because watching that repetition really helps cement the concepts in the process. I'm also going to give you the SPX paycheck system. If you're worried that finding stocks and all that might be too much, this is where I take the entire course, boil it down to something you can do in as little as 15 minutes a week. It's one trade type on one ticker symbol, one setup rule, one profit rule, one stop criteria. It's easy, it's simple. My teammate Brian taught this to his 14-year-old daughter at the time, and she was able to do the trades. For many of my students, this is the system they use. So as a recap, with today's offer, you're going to get the complete Options Paycheck training program, the 8 training modules, the videos, the checklist, the cheat sheets, the quizzes, the slides, everything. The bonus mastery package, the implementation month, the SPX paycheck system. Total value of that is $54.75. However, here's the opportunity. I'm going to roll up my sleeves, work with a couple hundred people who are serious about generating income. So if you choose to be one of them, together we're going to create an income system in your portfolio. The early bird price of the course is $12.95. However, if you order before the end of the webinar today, instead of that $12.95, you can do it for $9.95. That means you get the full course, 1 year of access to the course materials. You're going to get 2-month access to VectorVest and Options Pro. You're going to get that 1 month of implementation, my coaching plan. That means you get it all for $9.95. That $9.95 price will only be for those who registered before we finish up today. Once we finish, the price goes back up to $12.95. All you got to do, just go to www.optionspaycheck.com, get yourself registered. Now, if you think it's expensive, ask yourself what it's going to cost you not to do this. How much money are you going to lose by learning by trial and error? How much potential profit are you going to miss out on? How much time and energy are you going to spend trying to do this on your own? And then ask yourself, how would your life be different if you did it and it works? This isn't a cost. It's an investment in your future. You know, there's a saying that the best time to plant an oak tree is 20 years ago, so you can be sitting under it now enjoying the shade. Do you know when the second best time is? It's today. It's not too late to begin to prepare yourself for retirement and learn to generate income. This is going to be one of those deciding days in your life. Is it going to be the day you decide to take action and set yourself up for secure retirement? Or is it going to be the day you look back where you squandered a great opportunity to create that consistent income stream? I hope you don't regret the decision you make now. Don't miss this opportunity. You know, I look forward to working with all of you and teaching you this over the next 2 months. You know, many of my students tell me they wish they'd started this sooner. Don't look back a year from now and say, what if? This is your chance to change your financial trajectory, so don't let this pass you by. So again, go to www.optionspaycheck.com, get yourself registered. That $9.95 price is only available while we're live on the webinar. So if you've never taken the Paycheck course before, you want that lowest price, get it now. After the webinar, the price will increase to $12.95. Don't wait. Your financial future depends on what you do here. Go to www.optionspaycheck.com right now and secure your spot before it's too late. Once you register, you're going to receive a welcome email with everything you need to prepare. And listen, if you know it's right for you and you're joining me, give us a shout out. Say, hey, Ron, I'm in. We'd like to welcome you by name. Now, before we break to the Q&A, I want to cover some of the most basic questions I hear. First is, when are the live sessions and what if I miss one? Well, first and foremost, I will tell you this. You can do this class over the next 2 months, August and September, completely via recording. You don't have to attend any of our live sessions if you don't want to. You can watch everything that was recorded, okay? But here's the live session for those of you that can do it. We start on Tuesday, August 5th with a welcome sessions at 4:30, okay? Then Wednesday and Thursday, we do our mastery classes for Module 1 and Module 2. So if you're signing up right now, sometime between now and Wednesday the 6th, I want you to watch Module 1. And then by the Thursday, I want you to watch Module 2, okay? Because that first week of August are dedicated to Module 1 and Module 2. We're going to do mastery sessions at 4:30. Everything that we do live with you is recorded. So the way it works is you watch the module via a pre-recorded video. Then we meet live together for the mastery sessions. If you can't do the mastery sessions with us live, we record those also, and you'll get an updated copy of the mastery session. You can send me questions. I'll answer them for you in the mastery session if you want. Then on Friday, we have kind of an open Q&A at noon Eastern time. That's just an opportunity for us to get together. No predetermined content, just you asking questions about Module 1 and 2. So through August, our goal is to do 2 modules a week. So the second week of August, 3 and 4, then 5 and 6, and then 7 and 8, all teaching you through August the 8 modules of the mastery class. That's going to get you ready for September when we start implementing this live. On Tuesday the 2nd, because the market's closed on my normal trading day of Monday, we're going to do a combined SPX and stock class where we do our SPX paycheck trade and then our stock paycheck trades at noon. Then on Wednesday, we've got office hours at 4:30. Now that office hours again, sorry about that. I had a little message pop up about my audio. That office hours is another way for us to jump in and find live trades. Wednesday, we do it after the market closes for trades for the next day. Friday, we do it at noon during the trading day. And you're going to have access to my coaching through the month of September. So between August and September, we're going to teach you and show you how this works with real-time markets. Okay? Now, Greg recently graduated and he said, prior to the course, I struggled with knowing how to protect myself when the market was moving away from me, and I feared if I didn't fix it, I would lose more of my portfolio than I could afford to lose. After taking the options paycheck, I feel better prepared to trade and much more confident. In the first month, I made $10,200 from my options income trade with 9 winners and 1 loser. I would absolutely recommend the course. It was well done, very educational and informative. It's an excellent educational opportunity that I'm thankful I took advantage of. Don't let fear hold you back. You will make more in the first month than you paid to take the course. I was one of the fence sitters who didn't take the course for a long time when I saw it offered. I lost a lot by not taking the program sooner. I'm very grateful and appreciative of the work that was put into making this training program available. Now, before we go into the final details, we want to be totally upfront with you. I've helped thousands of people use options to generate consistent monthly income, but the course isn't for everyone. That's actually why we've been able to get such great results with our students. We're selective, and we ask you to be too. We don't want to sell this to everyone. We want to help the right people succeed. And that's how we get these real results that we're showing you. Now, here's what we found over the years. The people who succeed in the program share a few things in common. Number one, they've got some basic options experience. So if you've never bought or sold a call or put before, or if you've bought or sold a call or put before, you're good. If you've never touched an option before, we recommend starting with our Options Jumpstarter course. Now, those who succeed also have at least $10,000 available for trading. Not $10,000 total, $10,000 that you can actually dedicate to the strategy. If that's your entire account, it's probably not the best place to start. Your brokerage account should have level 3 options trading enabled. This means you can place the spread trades. If that isn't set up for your broker, fix that first. You're going to want to tell them you want to do bull put and bear call spreads. And finally, you're coachable. You don't try to outsmart the system. You follow the plan because that's where the results come from. So if you're checking those boxes, great. You're in the right place. And this is going to be one of the most valuable investments you'll make in your financial future. And if you're not, well, that's okay too. It just means this isn't your time yet. And we'd rather help 100 people succeed than sell to 1,000 who aren't ready and have them struggle. Because that's why we have our high success rate. We work with the right people at the right time. Here's just a few of the great comments we've received from our prior students. Cheryl says she surpassed her expectations, doesn't need the money back guarantee, tripled her investment. Bruce, we've talked about, grew from 100 to 452 in 3.5 years. Frank says, after taking the course, I've already have a profit of $7,300. Before the course, it was a crapshoot. Now I believe in the options trades I'm doing. Cam says, I made the initial investment so many times over. Even though it's a small part of my portfolio, it's probably the most profitable. Hugh, we already talked about. Jake says, I finally found a method of making consistent winning trades with a high probability of success. Here's some more of our more recent students. Neville says, thanks for the wonderful course. Within a short time, you opened our eyes to many things. Your experience, enthusiasm, and your desire to teach comes through easily. You put a lot of thought in the trading manual, already paid for the tuition with a few 35 Delta SPX trades. David says, the Options Paycheck Experience is by far the best course I've ever attended all my years with VectorVest since '99. You've eliminated my fear of trading options. The manner in which you present the material is truly outstanding. Waleed said, the course helps people like me develop self-confidence. If you have fears about options trading, you definitely need the course. Since the start of the course, I've done a few SPX trades with 19 wins, 12 losses, and 5,700 in gains. So here's the dream. The dream is consistent income and financial freedom. The risk, it's virtually none, thanks to the Options Paycheck system. The time, 15 minutes a day. The effort, we provide everything step by step. This is your moment. You've seen the results, you know the potential. Now it's time to take action. Don't let fear hold you back. Commit to your future and let the Options Paycheck system show you what's possible. Go to www.optionspaycheck.com now to secure your spot. Okay? Remember that $9.95 price is only available while we're live on the webinar. After the webinar, the price will increase to $12.95. Registration closes, by the way, on August 5th. That's the day of our first live class. So get out there, get your details filled in at optionspaycheck.com. And hey, like I said, if you're going to sign up, let us know. Give us a quick shout out in the chat. Just say I'm in. Now I'm going to bring my colleague Brian in, and we're going to officially start our Q&A.
All right, Ron. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
I'm just making sure also my voice is coming through loud and clear on your end. Lots of excitement in the chat. I mean, we were very busy answering questions and helping people out. You built a lot of excitement as you went through the session, so I'm excited to do the Q&A with you here. So we will get to all the questions that you asked in the chat. Just give us some time. So if you did still have a question, go ahead and type it into the chat. Myself or the team in the background will be answering questions, so keep an eye out for a reply from our team. So, Ron, if it's okay with you, is it okay if I do a couple of little housekeeping items that I think will answer a good number of questions right out of the gate?
Absolutely. Okay.
So first off, and I'm going to repeat a few of the things that Ron just talked about, but it's worth repeating because they're the questions that came into the chat. Number one was about the dates and the times of when you can, when this price is good for. The $9.95 that Ron is showing there on the screen right now is good while we're live on the session, and then it's going to switch back to $12.95. So if you know this is right for you, and you want to save $300, and now would be a good time to place the order. We put the link into the chat. It's just optionspaycheck.com. The registration closes for good about 2 weeks from now. That'll be the very last day that you can get in, and then we start live sessions. All right, so it's about 2 weeks from now. It's a Tuesday. I believe it's August the, was it 5th, I believe?
Yep.
So that'll be about 2 weeks from now. And a couple other questions. Some of you on the webinar with us today have been with VectorVest a very long time, and you're asking about elite pricing. First off, thanks for being an elite excuse me, I said that too quickly, Ron. Thank you for being an elite member. Try to say that a few times fast. So thank you for that. A benefit for you is this $9.95 price is good whenever you want to place your order. So you could do that for any day between now and 2 weeks from now. Whereas anybody who is not an elite member, the $9.95 price is only good while we're live today. So elite members get that bonus. So thanks for being an elite member. Ron, a couple of quick maybe items that you could help me with in this would be, can we just show people what it looks like to place the order?
Sure.
Let's just go to optionspaycheck.com and let's take a look at that. And then there's a couple others I think I could grab before we get over to you. So everybody, this is what optionspaycheck.com looks like when you go there. You can see there's a little countdown timer. That's how long the $9.95 will be good for. When you click on the Register Today button, it'll bring you to a section of the page where it'll show you the $9.95 price. All you have to do is click the button that says Buy Now and Save. And when you click that, it may ask you to sign into your account. If not, if you're already signed in, it'll bring you here. But one thing it'll definitely do is if you put in your email address and if it recognizes you that you're already in our system, don't worry, you're not getting an error message. Like if you put your email address in that top box, it might give you a message saying something like user already exists or something like that. It'll give you a button to sign in. All right, so you're not getting an error message. There's nothing wrong. You just need to sign into your account because we want to make sure that the course goes on to your existing account. All right, other than that, you just follow the prompts on the screen and you'll be good to go. And you get immediate access to the course. Like you could start going through the course right now, which actually, Ron, why don't we do that? Because that's another question that people were asking, how long are the modules and where are the recordings inside of the course? And to answer those questions that came in, would you be able just to kind of give people a tour of what it looks like inside the course?
Sure.
So they can see what they're getting?
Yep. Let me log
Okay.
in real quick and, oops, where is it? Here it is right here. All right. So this is the university site. And this is where all of the materials you're going to need are. So we mentioned, we got pre-recorded modules, you got the mastery sessions, you got the quizzes, you got the slides, you got the cheat sheets, everything that you need, right? And it all starts up here in the upper left-hand corner. So we've got a get it starting video, okay, just kind of give you an outline of the course. We got the welcome recording. This is what you'll see on August 5th. So if I click that, you say, well, we'll release that on August 6th. Then you've got your course curriculum checklist. I always recommend people start at the course curriculum checklist. Print this out. Reason why is because it's kind of like your guide to completing every module. So first and foremost, you're going to see that there are little module checklists for each thing. Like here's module 1. We want you to make sure you watch the snapshot, all the lessons, and we want you to do everything in module 1. Well, if I go to my left, you're going to see that all of the modules here are broken down. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So if you go in that module, we're going to start with the recorded lessons. You have a snapshot. Do it. Lesson 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I actually clicked on module 4, not on module 1. Now it lines up. 1, 2, 3, and 4. You've got your module review. You've got your action items. And then under that, you've got your review questions. So essentially, we want you to make sure you're doing everything that you need to do for each of the modules. Then also as part of this checklist, if you scroll down, it also gives you a schedule of all of our live events. So we mentioned on August 5th, that's going to be our welcome session. The 6th at 4:30, the 7th, these are our mastery sessions. So we have a schedule here of all of our live sessions. So do that. And then again, all the modules are pretty much laid out the same way. Underneath the modules, this is where you're going to find some of the bonus stuff. This is our SPX trading system. And we've actually found that some of our students just start by jumping into the SPX paycheck. And they watch the videos and they can be up and running in a week if they want to. I will tell you this, if you want to start with the SPX trading system, we usually save that for last. But if you want to start with that, if you have questions, you can email me. I would recommend you start with the 35 Delta trade. That's what I do. It's a really easy trading system. And I would say this, if you're the kind of trader that will follow directions and not question things, okay, that's a good place to start. Because if you follow the trading plan, it's a time-tested system. We don't teach you the why. We teach you the whys in the 8 modules. This is more of how to do it. So keep that in mind. Under the bonus, we've got all of our areas for recordings. So as we started, for the first 4 weeks, we had our Q&A sessions. Here's where you're going to find the links to the Q&A recordings every week. Office hours in the second month. These are going to be links to the live trading sessions when we start doing those in September. You're going to get a 2-month trial in August and September for Options Pro and VectorVest. If you want to learn a little bit more about Options Pro beyond what we teach in the course, there's some videos for that. We've got some broker help videos that we put together. Remember, we are not the primary source of broker tech support. We've just put these together for you to try to, get you started on the right way. Any detailed questions, we would tell you to talk to the broker on. And then lastly, we send out email links to all of our live classes. Now, we also know that those don't always work because email gets put spam, cluttered, junk, gets deleted, what have you. If you ever find yourself, hey, I know it's August 5th. Ron said we have a welcome session today, but I got no email, nothing. Just go to live webinars. There's a link section, and there's a link right there for the live welcome session. And throughout the 8 weeks of the course, you will find links for all of our sessions. So if you ever lose a link, don't get the email, what have you, we got you covered. It's all right there. And then lastly, the resources section. This is where you're going to find things like all of the slides. You can print those out if you want to. As you get later into the modules, we'll have the spreadsheet for you that you can download. All of the stuff that you're going to need to complete this successfully. So that's a quick tour of what it looks like.
All right, fantastic. Thanks, Ron. Nice job. Very thorough. The next question we've got a few people with different brokers, and I think you kind of touched on this with it, but just to make sure, because we have Edward, who is using Schwab. We have Lisa, who is using E-Trade. They just basically asking, I'll just quote Edward. He says, I assume this will work if I'm using Schwab?
Definitely. I mean, I use Schwab's Thinkorswim platform, but yeah, Schwab can do it. Fidelity has all the information, Interactive Brokers, E-Trade, TradeStation. I've never really seen a broker that really can't handle it. I mean, I have videos for them, but I've never seen a broker that, couldn't do these types of trades out of the big ones.
All right. And I almost forgot to touch on this, but I just saw 2 people right in a row just now, Gary and Shailesh, type into the chat. They've taken this course before, and they're like, hey, I want to take it again. Just as a refresher, is there a discount? And so first off, the answer is yes. And we do have a discounted rate for people who have taken the course before. Now, some people say, well, if you've taken the course before, why do you need to take it again? Well, quick answer is sometimes we've been teaching this course for almost 10 years now. And now we did revise it a few years ago, and we updated everything. So if you've taken the course several years ago, we totally rewrote it a few years ago. But to have a course, first off, to have a course that can be taught for 10 years, it's good because it's getting people results. So we're helping people generate an income system, and people have seen that. So number one, people who have taken the course before might just say, I just want to go through it again just to get a refresher of what it's like, get the updated material because they took it several years ago, or they just want to go through like Ron's coaching over again because you get those 2 months. Actually, the second month, an implementation month, you get to go through Ron's coaching class or coaching group with him. So whatever the reason, if you've taken the course before, this specific options paycheck course, it's only $495. All right, so we give you almost half off this price, so it's $4.95, we would have sent you a private email with a very special link just for you, so you could check your email for that. You do have to have taken the course over a year ago. Otherwise, you still have access to all the material inside of your university. But if you're interested in that discounted rate and you can't find your email, you can either call our office or just put a note into the chat. And one of our representatives here, he's monitoring the chat. His name's Steven. He will just double check your account and send you a private link either in the chat or via email. So if that's something you're interested in and you've taken the course before, put into the chat, say, hey, I've done this before. Or you can just put the word, I'm an alumni, or I'd like the refresher. If you want to be quick in typing, I just put that into the chat and Steven will help you out. Okay? All right. Woo, that was longer than I thought I was going to take talking about that, Ron. Sorry about that. All right. So this next question was kind of a combo of a couple of things. Back when you were talking about risk, you know, you were showing, I think it was an example of a trade with DRI. Mm-hmm. But during that section, you're talking about if a trade goes against you, how much you're going to lose, and people were wondering about the numbers that you were showing. But in general, if you can just touch on, like, if you've got a trade, I'll paraphrase what somebody said. They were worried that they're going to lose all their capital.
Right.
That was almost verbatim what somebody typed into the chat. I'm worried I'm going to lose all my capital. Can you kind of just talk about what it's like in the way that you teach it when a trade goes against you? Because you're not going to have every trade be a winner. Like, what happens when a trade goes against you? Is it like stressful, or is there going to be a big monetary loss, or is it just like, oh, ho hum, you know, I just got to close the trade in a small loss? Or like, can you kind of, what is it like when that happens?
No, that's exactly what it's like. It's like a ho hum. It's like, okay, that was a bummer that trade didn't work out. Because you're right, I'm going to have winning trades and I'm going to have losing trades. Now, the devil is in the details. Because when we talk about risk and we talk about reward, you have to be able to select the right risk and reward. I personally do not take trades that usually go above about, 1.1 times my reward. So that means if I'm making 700, and now this is my trading that you're going to see in the paycheck curriculum. My average winning trade is about $750. My average losing trade is also about $750. So when the trade goes against me, on average, I lose about the same as I gain. Now, there's going to be trades where I might lose a little bit more. Like, I can show you trades where I lost $1,000. That's okay. I think my biggest loss this year on all of my trades was like $1,100. So $750 win, maybe an $1,100 loss as my absolute worst, but it all kind of averages out to about $750. And the key is, this up front. You would never take a trade that would put you at more harm's risk than that. Because that's the cool thing about options. We know the risk, we know the reward, everything is laid out in front of us. So you can choose which trades to take based on the risk that you want to put up on the trade. So all controlled very much right up front.
All right, fantastic. Thanks, Ron. That was good. All right. Next question is, since it's been a while since you touched on this part, we did have somebody asking about a vacation that they're taking in August. Mm-hmm. So it's worth repeating, kind of maybe even showing the schedule again, but I'm going to fire off like a couple of questions to you at one time, Ron. For those people who are worried about missing a session, mm-hmm. Like, is it okay to miss a session? And then the second question is like, is everything recorded?
Yeah, it's perfect. Everything's recorded. I'll start with that first. So everything that we do is recorded. The modules, as we said, are all pre-recorded, so you can watch the modules whenever you want. And then the live curriculum, which is the masteries and the open Q&As and the trading in September, that's all recorded. So if you can't view it live, you can watch the recordings to see what we've done. If you go on vacation for a week, you're not going to fall behind. I mean, everything is out there that you can catch right back up with everything as you go through. You're going to be putting in about 3 to 4 hours of work a week during the course. So as long as you can afford, miss a week and then spend another 3 extra hours the next week, you're in good shape. So it's not very much time commitment to learn this. That's the beautiful thing about it.
All right, fantastic. So you still have a couple of moments to get questions into the chat. Those of you who are in, I'm sorry, I forgot to call out your names and welcome you to the group. Welcome to the class. We're excited to have you in here. You should have gotten an email from us with all the details, with the dates and the times of the live sessions, with the link to the course, with the directions to get into the course. So please check your email for that. Look in your junk or spam if you don't happen to see it in there. So please check that out. Ron, this is obviously an investment, right? It's $995, right? So if for somebody who's wondering, like, is it worth it? I mean, we're not asking people to buy a Happy Meal at McDonald's here to, spend $10 or whatever it costs now at McDonald's. This is an investment for somebody who's concerned about spending $1,000 on this course. What would you say to them? Is it worth it?
Well, I've been doing this now for, teaching this class here at VectorVest for about a decade. It's been a while. I've been trading like this now for almost 20 years. I've helped thousands of traders do this. I've helped traders day trade commodities. I've helped traders learn options. I can tell you that the vast majority of the success that I've seen traders that I've come in contact with over the last 30 years has been doing this type of options trading. The way that we lay it out, step by step, we leave no stone unturned. None. Okay? We make sure you have every step along the way. You're never going to come back to us in 3 months and say, Ron, you didn't prepare me for this to happen. Everything is laid out in front of you. We let you know all the risks. We let you know how to put the trade together properly. You are not going to find a better option course or a better income approach to options trading. And we put our guarantee behind that. If you don't think that's true, we do offer that money back guarantee within a week after the course is over. So, we do put our money where our mouth is on this.
All right. And yeah, just one quick thing. If you can, Ron, go to that Options Paycheck website again. I'm not sure if the screen is paused or not, but if you can go to optionspaycheck.com. One thing I did want to point out, this is one of the courses that we get a ton of positive feedback on. This is just like a fraction of the ones that we get. If you go to this website, there's a link on, view all testimonials. This really isn't all of them. It's all the ones that we've gotten nice smiling photos of people. But go through here. We even have some that are, I think, videos in there somewhere. But go ahead and check those out, because you might find somebody who's just like you on there and be like, hey, if it works for him, it might work for me. So check that out. Folks, we're excited to start this. We're always excited to teach this class. It is a game changer. We've been doing it for almost 10 years now, and I'm so thrilled when I see people write back saying that how much it has changed their life, like the trajectory of their retirement path. All right, so you're not making a mistake by joining. Let us show it to you. Let us prove it to you. Get into the course and get started. And you can, once you register, you can start going through the course immediately and hit the ground running inside the course. So with that, quick reminder, the $995 is good for just a short amount of time. We're wrapping that up. And then the registration closes for good in a couple of weeks. So make sure you get in. Hopefully you made a decision today. You don't want to leave today's session saying, I still wonder if it's right for me. If that's how you're feeling, give us a call. We'll put our phone number into the chat. It's just 888-658-7638. And give our team a call. We'll be glad to talk to you and discuss the course with you. All right. So I'm going to pass it over to Ron, since he's the head honcho of the course. And then, Ron, you could say whatever you want to wrap up for the evening.
All right, sounds good. Well, thank you, Brian, and thank you to the team behind me that was answering questions the whole time, and especially thanks to you for sticking with me for this hour and a half. I know time is valuable, so the 90 minutes you spent with me, I definitely appreciate. For those of you that signed up, thank you, and I'm going to welcome you to the Options Paycheck curriculum. We're going to see us live next month in August. Get started right away, And I want to wish all of you the very best of success. We're going to help take you and turn you into proficient option income traders. And again, as Brian said, if you have any questions, let us know. Call us on our 800-888 number, and we'd be happy to answer anything else that you might need. With that, I'll let you go. Thanks again for attending, and hopefully see you in August for the live options paycheck. Thanks again, everybody. Take care.